Hello, friends. Welcome to lecture number 3 of this course on building human level AI grading systems. So, in this course, we will be basically building a human level AI grading systems. And in this particular lecture, we will be discussing understanding constructed response questions. So, we will try to understand what it means, what is meant by constructed response questions. So that is what we will be discussing in detail in this lecture. We will try to understand constructed response questions because the human level AI grading systems that we will be building, it will be grading, it will be assessing the constructed response questions. It means it will be assessing the subjective questions, short answer questions. That's the main idea. So, lecture 3, understanding constructed response questions. So, this lecture explains why constructed response questions are central to learning. Basically, in this lecture, we will understand the importance of constructed response questions and why they are central to learning. Constructed response questions are the real way of doing assessment. And this lecture also explains why automated grading of constructed response questions is both necessary and difficult. So basically in this lecture, we will get a realization that why automated grading of CRQs, constructed response questions, is both necessary and why it is difficult to grade constructed response questions. So the idea is that in a MCQ, multiple choice question or objective question, you basically choose the correct answer from 4 options. So basically, it will test your recognition capabilities. On the other hand, if you explain the answer in your own words, like in constructed response questions, you will explain the answer. You will not choose the answer, rather, you will explain the answer. And that will clearly demonstrate your thinking capabilities because the way you are explaining the answer will demonstrate your understanding of the concept. So, definitely, we can very easily say that constructed response questions is the better way of assessment. See, why we do assessment? To test your understanding. Like, let us suppose you have gone through a lecture or you have gone through a concept. Now, we want to test your understanding, your conceptual clarity, how good you understood that concept, and what is the way for that assessment. So, either we can do a multiple choice question, like we can provide you some objective questions wherein you will be choosing the correct answers from 4 options. And now that is not a better way of assessment because there is a scope of guesswork, there is a scope of recognition because you are recognizing the right answer, you are eliminating the options because answer is already given to you, answer is already hidden among the 4 options, so you just have to recognize the correct answer. So objective test, it basically tests your recognition capabilities. But on the other hand, if there is a test containing constructed response questions, in that you have to write short answers, you have to explain the answer, and while explaining the answer, we will get a clarity, like your thinking capabilities, like it will be tested, like how you are thinking, whether you are thinking in the right direction, your conceptual capabilities, your conceptual clarities can be tested clearly. So that's the main idea. And hence, constructed response questions are better way of assessment. But the problem is that automated grading of constructed response question is difficult. Because see, for objective question, automated grading is very easy. 4 options are there. Uh, Like I can very easily feed the correct answers and I can just automate it. Like whatever the user response, I can compare it with the correct option and I can scale it. So automated grading of objective question is very easy, and hence all the competitive exams, especially in India, they are mainly objective, objective test. But in constructed response questions, the grading, automated grading is difficult because here the student will be explaining the answer. So a same question might have hundreds of different answers because the way of expressing will be different, and the grading of that will be a challenge. But with the power of AI, with the power of artificial intelligence, we can automate the grading of constructed response questions, and that is what this course is about. So in this particular lecture, if we look at the topics we will be discussing, topics covered. So first we'll talk about what are constructed response questions. What do we mean by constructed response questions? Then we'll discuss why do constructed response questions reveal deeper cognition. Then we'll talk about generative processing versus recognition. Then we'll talk about cognitive load and learning science foundation. Cognitive load and learning science foundations. Then we'll look at why do constructed response questions create a grading bottleneck, because we already know that automated grading of constructed response questions are difficult. So why is it difficult? Why do constructed response questions create a grading bottleneck? So these are the topics we will be discussing in detail in this lecture one by one. So first we'll be starting with the first topic. What are constructed response questions? So if I talk about the constructed response questions, they are basically assessment items where learners must generate an answer and not select. So basically in constructed response questions, answers needs to be generated and not to be selected, unlike in multiple choice questions. So basically in constructed response questions, learners must use their own words to express their understanding. So here learners must explain, justify, or describe an idea. And in constructed response questions, the learner must show reasoning, not selection. So now I hope you got a very clear understanding of constructed response questions, because if I talk about the important properties of constructed response questions, so they are basically, what are constructed response questions? They are assessment items where learners must generate an answer and not select. They have to express in their own words, they have to use their own words, they have to explain, justify, or describe an idea, and they have to reason, they have to show reasoning and not selection. And definitely it is completely different from multiple choice questions, true false questions, match the following questions, and filling the blanks questions. Because see, these are like different types of questions used for assessment, and definitely constructed response questions are very much different from MCQs, true false, matching, filling the blanks. And it is making sense also why it is different. Okay, so now we will look at short answer constructed response questions. So basically, see, in this course, we will be making a human level AI grading system, and we will be using constructed response questions, and we will be using short answer constructed response questions. And that short answer constructed response questions, it will typically have 1 to 5 sentences. It is focused on some concept. It is content oriented, like the keywords you will be using while writing the answer is important, not the language style. So the short answer CRQs, they're not about like the way you are explaining. like the English you are using, the vocabulary you are using, the grammar you are using. It is more about the concept, the keywords you are using. It is content oriented. Like, for example, if I talk about essay is language style oriented. The way you express, the way you use the language, the vocabulary, the grammar, it matters a lot in essay. And essay is not a short answer CRQ. So short answer constructed response questions are basically 1 to 5 sentences. They're concept focused and they're content oriented and not language style oriented. And they are very much common in like science, engineering, है ना? Because concepts are always involved. If I talk about some examples of CRQs, short answer CRQs, explain why this mutation affects protein synthesis. So clearly it's a short answer CRQ wherein the answer will be a concept explaining protein synthesis. Another example we can take, describe what happens during transcription in this scenario. One more example we can discuss, why does this process remain unchanged? So these are like some examples of short answer constructed response questions wherein the response to these questions will be short answer. Basically 1 to 5 sentences, concept focused, content oriented. Because here the language style will not matter. Here the content will matter. The keywords used, the concept explained, that will matter. Now we look at what constructed response questions are not. So constructed response questions are not essays, they are not creative writing task, they are not opinion based reflections, they are not long argumentative responses. So constructed response questions are not essays, they are not creative writing tasks, they are not opinion based reflections, they are not long argumentative responses. And this clarification is very important because the human level AI grading system which we will be making, it will not be grading essays, it will not be grading creative writing tasks, it will not be grading opinion based reflections, it will not be grading long argumentative responses, because to grade these types of scenarios, it will be very challenging. And our focus is very much clear that we will be only focused on short answer CRQs. Okay, now we'll jump into the next topic of this lecture, that is, why do constructed response questions reveal deeper cognition? So now it is making sense also, because we already saw constructed response questions are better way of assessment, because it is testing your thinking capabilities, your reasoning abilities. It is in true sense testing your understanding of a concept. So definitely CRQs reveal deeper cognition, no doubt in that. So MCQs measure recognition and not understanding. So the main drawback with the multiple choice questions are they measure recognition and not, they truly don't understand your understanding. The idea is that when students answer MCQs, they can eliminate options, they can guess strategically, they can recognize surface patterns, they can use test taking heuristics. So with MCQs, all these are possible, because with MCQs, like students can eliminate options. There is a scope of guessing is also there. Strategically, they can guess, they can recognize surface patterns, they can like use test taking heuristics. Like for example, 10 questions are there. The student does not know the answers for it. So he will just tick B, 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 B for all those 10 questions. So there is a probability is there. So like that, many strategies students derive. So students can fool the examiner. So here one very big drawback is there with MCQ. A correct MCQ answer does not guarantee understanding. Like if a student gives a correct MCQ answer, it does not mean that it will never guarantee understanding, because scope of guessing is also there. So a correct MCQ answer does not guarantee understanding, and it's a very big drawback, because the whole point of assessment is to test the understanding of the student, like whether the student understood the concepts or not. And if the students can get the correct answer via guesswork, and if the correct answer given by the student, if it does not guarantee his understanding, his or her understanding, then that's a very big problem. And that's the main problem with MCQs. And there CRQs come into the picture, because CRQs, they expose mental models, they expose the thinking abilities, the reasoning capabilities of a student. So constructed response questions, CRQs, force students to organize knowledge. It forces students to translate concepts into language. CRQs force students to reveal misconceptions, and CRQs force students to explain incomplete understanding. Expose incomplete understanding. See, basically, now with the MCQs, the examiner can never understand the weakness of a student, the weak points, the incomplete understanding, the misconceptions. But with CRQs, one can very easily identify whether the student is having an incomplete understanding of a subject, of a concept, of a topic, or whether he is holding some misconceptions about a topic. All that can be revealed, all that can be exposed. And that's the very big thing about CRQs. So instructors can very easily do the diagnostic assessment. So here one very interesting thing come into the picture, that is diagnostic assessment, wherein instructors can look into the thinking process of a student. They can understand where the reasoning is getting breaked, and they can understand the misconceptions or incomplete understanding, or where the student got confused. All those things can be very easily understood by the instructor, and instructor can very clearly, they can give feedback to the students, and it will in a true sense help students in learning. Because see, ultimately the end goal of a student is learning, because if he is getting enrolled in a course, in a degree, in a graduation program, or in a post graduation program, what is his main goal? His main goal is to master the subjects, to gain knowledge, to gain the understanding of the concepts of that particular subject. So for students, assessment plays a very important role, because assessment will guide the student. It will show the student whether they are on the right track. And CRQs, in a true sense, reveal the deeper cognition. MCQs are not that much effective when it comes to testing the understanding. So if we truly want to test the understanding, the thinking capabilities, the reasoning capabilities of a student, then CRQs reveal the deeper cognition. So diagnostic assessment we can do with the power of CRQs. And in this course, we will be making human level AI grading system, and it will be grading CRQs. And just imagine if we can automate the grading of CRQs, it will be a big thing. And that is what we will be achieving in this course. Now we'll talk about misconceptions are visible only in CRQs, that we already saw. Like, see, many misconceptions, they do not show up in MCQs. They're hidden by partial recognition, and they become visible only when students explain. So the problem with MCQs we already saw. Misconceptions, many misconceptions do not show up in MCQs. They are hidden by partial recognition, become visible only when students explain. Then only we'll get to know that, oh, his understanding is wrong. He's holding some misconceptions. So here, the good thing is that the CRQs, constructed response questions, make these errors explicit. Like whatever the shortcomings are there of MCQs, that is taken care by the CRQs, because CRQs reveals the misconceptions. It exposes the incomplete understandings. So now we got a very good understanding, like the importance of CRQs and why CRQs reveal deeper cognition. Okay, now let's jump into the next topic of this lecture. So here we will discuss generative processing versus recognition. So recognition, like we saw that in MCQs, answer is already hidden in one of the option and we just have to recognize it. So recognition is a low cognitive demand process. Recognition involves identifying familiar patterns. Recognition involves matching stimuli to memory, and recognition involves minimal mental reconstruction. So basically recognition is mainly about the practice. Like if you practice lots and lots of MCQs, then it will be about matching stimuli to memory. Like, have I seen that question before? Have I seen this before? So that is matching stimuli to memory. It is basically identifying familiar patterns. Oh, this question seems to follow this pattern. So recognition involves identifying familiar patterns. It involves matching stimuli to memory, and it involves minimal mental reconstruction, because here it's all about speed. Because in recognition, like in MCQ, speed plays a very important role, and broad coverage and easy grading. Because in recognition, the grading is very easy. Like why it's easy? Because we have to choose one correct answer from the four options. So easy grading, broad coverage, and speed. Speed matters a lot in recognition. But the problem with recognition is that, as we already saw, it produces fragile learning. That's the main drawback with the recognition. So it produces fragile learning. So that's the problem. If we talk about generative processing, it's a high cognitive demand process. So generative processing requires learners to retrieve information from memory. Generative processing requires learners to retrieve information from memory, organize it coherently. Because see here, the idea is that we will not be choosing an option. We will not be doing any kind of recognition. Rather, we will be generating the answer. So that's the generative processing. And definitely we have to retrieve information from the memory and we have to organize it coherently. Then we also have to integrate multiple concepts and we have to express relationships. So generative processing is more powerful, and interestingly, CRQs, constructed response questions, they force generative processing, because here the goal is not to choose the correct answer, rather to retrieve information from the memory, rather to generate the answer. To generate the answer, we have to retrieve the information from memory and we have to organize that information coherently. We have to integrate multiple concepts and then we have to also express. So generative processing is like a high cognitive demand process. And now we'll discuss why generative processing improves learning. So there are research which has shown that, so research shows generative task deepen understandings. Retrieval, like information retrieval, strengthens the memory. Explanation improves transfer, and recall leads to durable learning. So research has shown that generative tasks they deepen the understanding. So if you truly want to understand a concept, so we should write answers. Like CRQs will help us in deepening the understanding. Retrieval strengthens the memory, explanation improves the transfer, and recall leads to durable learning. So, in short, we can say that research shows that actual learning happens during answer generation, because while you will be generating the answer, actual learning will be happening and not after grading. So, this is like a very important statement. So, actual learning happens during answer generation, not after grading. Okay, students, now we'll discuss the next topic of this lecture, that is cognitive load and learning science foundations. So, what is cognitive load? First, let us understand that. So, cognitive load refers to the mental effort required to perform a task, the burden placed on working memory. So, one very important thing we are discussing cognitive load. So, the meaning of cognitive load is the mental effort required to perform a task, the burden placed on working memory. The more the burden placed on the working memory, the more the mental effort is required to perform a task, the more will be the cognitive load. So, that is the meaning of cognitive load. Now, if I talk about working memory, so it is limited, it easily gets overloaded, the working memory. And working memory is central to learning. So in our learning, whatever we are learning, working memory plays a very important role. Working memory is the central to learning. Working memory is limited and working memory easily gets overloaded. So there are three types of cognitive load. So we'll discuss the three types of cognitive load. So first we have intrinsic load. So intrinsic load is basically the complexity of the concept itself. For example, understanding a process like a molecular biology process, for example. So if we talk about understanding molecular biology processes or any process, definitely it will have a cognitive load. You have to put effort, mental effort you have to put to understand a molecular biology process. So the complexity of the concept itself will have a cognitive load, and that is the intrinsic cognitive load. So intrinsic cognitive load is the complexity of the concept itself. Then we have extraneous load, extraneous cognitive load, like poor question design, confusing instructions, and irrelevant difficulty. So all these will lead to extraneous load, because poor question design, unnecessarily we have to put mental efforts, confusing instructions, irrelevant difficulty. So these are like extraneous cognitive load. Then we have German load, German load. So German load is basically the effort devoted to learning. It is mainly effort devoted in organizing and integrating knowledge. So basically, CRQs, constructed response questions, they increase German load, and that is needed also, because see, ultimately the goal, the end goal is to master the concepts. So German cognitive load is always considered as desirable. It is desirable because here the mental effort we are putting is in the right direction. The mental effort we are putting is in the right direction because we are putting the mental effort in learning, in organizing the knowledge, and in integrating the knowledge. So, constructive response questions they increase German load. That is needed. That is desirable. Okay, now we'll talk about why CRQs are cognitively valuable. So if we talk about well-designed CRQs, well-designed CRQs, so they increase productive cognitive effort. They encourage schema construction and they promote integration of ideas. So well-designed CRQs, they increase productive cognitive effort, they encourage schema construction, they promote integration of ideas. And hence CRQs are cognitively valuable. But here, one more thing we should discuss about CRQs that we will discuss in the next section actually, the drawbacks of CRQs. But now it's very clear that CRQs are cognitively valuable. Okay, now let us look at the next topic of this lecture, that is why do CRQs create a grading bottleneck? So the first bottleneck is the linguistic variability, because here if I talk about short answer response like CRQ or normal CRQ also, so two different students may understand the same concept but they express it in a different way. They understand the same concept, but when it's come to expressing it, express it using entirely different words, and that's a drawback, that's a bottleneck, that's the linguistic variability we are talking about. They may use different examples while explaining the concept, and they may also structure sentences differently. So the problem with this is we may get thousands of unique responses to the same question. We may get long tail distributions and we may get rare but valid expressions. So this is the linguistic variability associated with CRQs, and hence CRQs create a grading bottleneck. Similarly, we have ambiguity and borderline answers. So CRQs often produce partially correct answers. Okay, this is actually one very unique and interesting thing about CRQs, because in MCQs, either the answer is completely wrong or it is completely right, because you have to choose a correct option. But in CRQ, there is a scope of partially correct answers. So CRQs often produce partially correct answers. And what is this partially correct answers? Correct ideas mixed with incorrect ones. In CRQs, they may often produce vague explanations and they may produce overly general statements. Now, sorry, this is a problem actually, because see, the idea is that now, like, how we will automate the grading. Like, if we talk about grading, partially correct answers, grading will become very difficult. Vague explanations, overly general statements, the grading of it will become very difficult, because even human graders, like let us suppose if human graders are evaluating CRQs, they may have a conflict, like they may disagree, like whatever the student is expressing, the human grader may disagree with that, because here disagreement has a scope. In MCQ, there is no scope of disagreement. Either the answer is correct or it's wrong. But here the answer can be partially correct. So there is a scope of agreement and disagreement is there in CRQs. So even human graders can disagree. They have to revise judgments and they have to struggle with incomplete versus complete. Like these are the problems which even the human graders have to face while dealing with CRQs. And just imagine if we talk about human level AI grading system dealing with CRQs. So it will be a challenging task for AI to grade CRQs. So why does this matter for AI grading? So any automated system must handle semantic similarity across diverse language. So see, the idea is that any automated grading system, it expects semantic similarity. It means it expects similar kind of responses, because if for a particular question there are thousands of different ways of answering, then it will be very difficult for the automated system to function properly, because automated grading system, it accepts semantic similarity across diverse languages. Partial correctness, like the automated grading system for CRQ, it must handle partial correctness, because we saw that CRQ might be partially correct. Conceptual relevance and not keyword matching, very important. And human level ambiguity. So the idea is that human level AI grading system, which we will be making, it will have these following features. Our human level AI grading system, it will handle semantic similarity across diverse languages. It will handle partial correctness. It will handle conceptual relevance and not keyword matching. It will not do keyword matching. That's why it is AI, because it will handle conceptual relevance and not keyword matching. And it will handle human level ambiguity. So these are like some very interesting features of human level AI grading system, which we will be building in this course. And now, like, it is not that easy to achieve, and hence CRQ grading is one of the hardest problems in educational AI. Like, CRQ grading is one of the hardest problems in educational AI. And in this course, we will be solving this problem. We will be building a human level AI powered CRQ grading system. So, okay, students, now we will be concluding this lecture. So, basically, in this lecture, we saw what do we mean by CRQs and some very interesting properties of it. So, we saw that constructed response questions, they reveal thinking, they promote durable learning, they demand generative processing, and they create grading challenges. And what are the grading challenges? So, grading complexity will increase because of linguistic variability, because of ambiguity and borderline answers, response variability and ambiguity. Because of these factors, CRQs create grading challenges. So, basically, there is a tension. The assessments that best support learning are the hardest to evaluate at scale. So that's the problem actually. Because see, CRQs are like very good. They are like way better than MCQs when it comes to assessments. They are a good way of testing the understanding. But the problem is that they are very hard to evaluate at scale. Like automating CRQs is really tough. Like it's a challenge. And this tension is basically the core motivation behind AI enabled learning. AI enabled grading. And this is what we will be doing in this course. In this course, we will be making a human level AI grading system, which will be assessing the CRQs, short answer CRQs. So students, finally, we completed this lecture. I hope you got a very good understanding of the concepts discussed in this lecture. So do share it in your circle, do share it with your friends, and do subscribe to this YouTube channel, that is the Scale Up University, for more such interesting lectures. So if you have anything to discuss, you can comment, you can drop in a comment. So thanks for your time. Thanks for watching.